headquarters. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought immense challenges to our community. Here in Suffolk, we went from being the epicenter of the pandemic to having some of the best numbers in the country now. And that wasn't by mistake. We followed the guidelines, we socially distanced, we wore masks, and we acted responsibly. And that's how we got to where we are today. While the vast majority of our residents continue to comply with all of the rules, unfortunately, we also continue to see a number of instances where either a business or resident violates the health and safety guidelines that are put in place for the protection of us all and so that we can move forward with our economic recovery. We take COVID-19 enforcement seriously. Earlier this month, we issued fines to the Miller Place Inn for a Sweet 16 party that led to more than 35 COVID-19 positive cases, Long Island's first super spreader event. And today, I'm announcing that the county will be issuing another set of fines to both a country club and a homeowner for violations of the governor's executive order. The first set of fines will be issued to the North Fork Country Club, which recently hosted a wedding on October 17th with 91 individuals in attendance. To date, 30 individuals have tested positive, 1/3 of all of those in attendance. Think about that for a moment. 1/3 of all of the people attending this event have tested positive for COVID-19. All of those positive COVID-19 cases are under isolation, and there are 159 contacts that are currently under quarantine from that wedding. The North Fork Country Club will be issued a violation of notice for violating the governor's executive order, which limits non-essential gatherings to 50 individuals. They'll also be issued notice of violation for a violation of the Suffolk County Sanitary Code. The Health Department is recommending the maximum fine of $15,000 for the violation of the governor's executive order and a $2,000 fine for violation of Suffolk County Sanitary Code. So because of this wedding, this country club faces potential fines of $17,000. The next event, which I'm sure many of you are already aware of, happened over this past weekend on Saturday night. After receiving multiple 911 calls, the Suffolk County Police Department responded to a house party in Farmingville that had an estimate between 200 to 300 individuals in attendance, a majority of whom were minors. After breaking up the party, the Suffolk County Police Department issued the resident field appearance tickets for violation of the county's social host law for allowing consumption of alcohol to individuals under 21 years of age. The county will also be issuing violations of notice of violations for violations of the governor's executive orders. The Health Department is recommending a fine of $2,500. This is the first resident to be issued a fine in Suffolk County for violating the governor's executive orders. The Health Department is aware of the party, of course, and if a positive COVID-19 case emerges in connection with this event, which again just happened this past weekend, they will launch a comprehensive case and contact tracing operation. This type of blatant disregard for the well-being of others is not only extremely disappointing, it will not be tolerated. If you violate the rules, you'll be caught and held responsible. We have literally come too far here. We've been through too much. We've experienced too much pain, anxiety, harm, both personal to people's lives, economic harm. Families are still in crisis. Businesses are still struggling to survive. And yet through all that, we have come incredibly far. And this kind of activity is what threatens to bring us back. Finally, I want to talk about an event that, while it did not violate the social gathering limits, did lead to nearly half of those in attendance testing positive due to limited social distancing. On Saturday, October 17th, a Bellport resident hosted a birthday party with approximately 50 people in attendance. Out of those in attendance, half of the individuals, 26, have now tested positive for COVID-19. All of the positive cases are under quarantine, and 132 contacts have been quarantined as well. So between this wedding and this birthday party, there are 56 positive COVID-19 cases and nearly 300 people under quarantine. These kind of super spreader events are a threat to our public health and to our continued economic recovery. I want to emphasize that we do not believe there is any further community spread at this time related to these two events, and I want to thank the health department, Dr. Piggott and Dr. Iftikhar, for their incredible work, the contact tracing operation in place, the incredible work that our health Department of Health workers are doing to investigate these cases and to make sure that we are isolating and quarantining so that we can stop the spread of the virus. Unlike what happened at the beginning of this, where we were caught unawares, we didn't have the testing, we didn't have the contact tracing in place. Those operations are happening, and we can see the results of events like these, the work that's being done, and I thank them both. As we approach this holiday weekend, we want residents to be mindful of these incidents and where we are at this point. While the Bellport party did not, as I said, violate the gathering limits, it's a perfect example of how quickly this virus can spread. 26 people leaving there not knowing that they were going out into the world, into their homes, into their places of work, and spreading the virus to others, potentially. And while I understand people's frustration with the situation that we are all in, we have come this far because we've worked together. We've made such progress because we have followed the guidance and we have worked together and come together as a community. And these type of events can undermine and undo all of that good work. Look at what is happening in other parts of the country right now. Look what's happening right in our region, in New Jersey, where there are cities that are going back into lockdowns, where businesses are shutting down again. We do not want that to happen in Suffolk County. You look at what's happening in Europe, where they're talking about major lockdowns. We do not want that to happen. We are determined to do everything we can to prevent that from happening. We need to continue the progress we're making on this virus and continue our economic recovery from this virus. Halloween is coming up, obviously. Where have we seen this virus spread? Gatherings. People coming together. And again, I understand that. We want to come together. We want to be together. Take precautions. Follow the guidance. Because when you don't, we now have clear examples of what happens and what can happen. And we don't want to see this happen again. We don't want to be issuing fines to businesses or homeowners. But we have come too far to go back now. Again, I want to thank our police commissioner, Jerry Hart, who is going to come to the podium now to say a few words, of course, to talk about this, and our chief of department, Stuart Cameron, and again, to our health commissioner, Dr. Piggott, and our deputy commissioner, Dr. Iftikhar, for their great work. Commissioner?
Thank you. Thank you, County Executive. Good afternoon, and thank you to everybody here for helping get this important message out to the public. While COVID-19 infection rates remain low, it is more important now than ever that we remain vigilant in adhering to the restrictions put forth by the state. Without a doubt, 2020 has brought unique challenges, ones that we have never faced before. In addition to our normal public safety duties, our officers are now tasked with ensuring people abide by social distancing and face covering rules, as well as taking action against gatherings that exceed 50 people. And I want to thank them for their hard work in this area. We have seen what happens when people host events while ignoring state regulations. We have seen super spreader events that create a spike in COVID-19 cases and force others to quarantine. As many of you are aware, Suffolk County Police 6th Precinct officers responded to a residence on Summers Court in Farmingville at approximately 8:40 on October 24th in response to multiple 911 calls regarding a large party. The resident was charged with criminal nuisance in the second degree and the Suffolk County Social Host Law. There were between 200 and 300 people at the party, and additionally, a 62-year-old man who lives on the street was struck in the face by a male as the group was dispersing from the party. He was treated for minor injuries at Stony Brook Hospital, and our 6th Precinct Crime Section officers are investigating that assault. As a parent, I understand the difficulties of having teens cooped up, but this is not the environment for large gatherings. An event like this one in Farmingville not only has the potential for horrendous consequences when underage individuals drink alcohol, but has the probability of causing a chain reaction of COVID-19. All it takes is for one attendee to be positive to lead to a spread among partygoers and then to their families, and could even lead to the closure of schools. It was not the first time that our police officers have arrested someone for hosting a large gathering. On August 1st, a Bayshore woman was arrested for criminal nuisance in the second degree for hosting a party at her home with hundreds present. And on August 8th, a Port Jefferson Station man hosted a backyard party with 70 people in attendance. Individuals should report COVID-19 violations to any of the following. They can call 311. They can contact 852-COPS. They can call the Suffolk County Consumer Affairs Bureau or the New York State Complaint Line. Our officers have performed 3,243 checks in response to these calls through October 26th, with an overall compliance rate of 4.3%. I apologize, an overall non-compliance rate of 4.3%. The department has also conducted more than 12,000 proactive checks. And with Halloween just a few days away, I would ask that people be mindful of the presence of COVID-19 and the particular importance of avoiding large gatherings. I ask everyone to be responsible, and I look forward to a day when COVID-19 is no longer a threat, but until then, we must all do our part to stop the spread. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any questions?
I'm sorry. Can you run down a couple of the numbers?